Hi, welcome back to Miss Kulala's Mystical Musings. I actually have watched a few videos on YouTube by fellow content creators doing the tag onetarotcard. And it was originally started by Scarab, Ramone. And I actually just watched that video yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. It was just very recent. And then I watched Farah Nadila's video from Faraway Astrology and Tarot, and also Highly Sensitive Tarot with Julia. So I will add the links to those videos in the description. But it is a wonderful tag. And Ramone gives us questions, 10 questions, and we're supposed to pick one tarot card for each question. All right, let's get started. Okay, the first question is, which card is the most inspiring to you? And I picked a few different cards, but the same card. Do you know what I mean? I picked the Fool. So first, let's look at the Fool. And from this particular, it's a major deck that I received off of Goddess Provisions. And the artist's name is right here. It's Anaya or Anian Guyan. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but this is her name right there. And I will also add a link to her art shop. She has an art shop on Etsy. So what I love about the Fool is that one is the beginning. It's the cosmic egg. And then it's can also be key 22, which is like at the end of the journey. You know, it's the Fool goes through the whole tarot, and then at the end of the journey, he becomes, you know, enlightened, but he still has the same outlook. And to me, that's extremely inspiring. I would love to be able to have all the knowledge that the universe is offering and be able to share it without fear, or without fear of judgment, or just, you know, without living in with worry or doubt, you know, all the lower vibrational things that keep us, you know, from that spiritual ascension, which inevitably is what, you know, for myself is what I'm looking for. You know, we see the serpent, you know, we see the apple, we see Red Riding Hood, and, you know, here's the big bad wolf. And then I like the Fool from my Chris Ann's The Light Seers, because look at she's just letting herself fall into an abandonment, and is to just going with the flow, you know. She's trusting everything. There's, you know, sometimes, yes, the Fool is, you know, folly and just, you know, maybe not looking before you leap, but she doesn't have a care in the world. To me, that's inspiring. It's like taking everything that we know and just taking the important stuff and worrying about what's important. So I love the Fool. This is the Grimalkin's Curious Cats Tarot by MJ McCullonan, I believe is how it's spelled. And, you know, I mean, cats being adventurous, cats don't like water. And look, there's an alligator, there's a dog, birds, you know, but look, cats like, you know, and sometimes, yeah, curiosity does kill the cat. But I mean, it's the intentions, you know, they're pure. They're pure. And then in my Psychic Tarot, the Oracle deck by John Holland, it says it right here. New beginnings, you know? So even if you've had something bad happen to you, or what you deem as bad, you know, you struggled, there's always the possibility of a new beginning, you know? Okay, so number 2 is, which card is the most distressing to you? The 8 of Swords from my Chris Ann's The Light Seers. And it's because I feel like, you know, this card is like the struggle that we have with ourselves. And it can lead us down enlightenment at some point, or if we're not strong enough, if we don't find that inner strength, it can lead us down a destructive path. You know, we are our own worst enemy. And to me, that's distressing, because sometimes when a person is going through those things, even as much as you want to help them, you can't reach them. They have to crawl out from that themselves. You know, and she's refusing to see. She's refusing to be, like, when you look at this card, I see somebody who is refusing to look at everything. So she's letting herself be torn apart. When, you know, everything is right at her reach. You know, there's no reason for that. So again, we are our own worst enemy. Our enlightenment, our courage, the strength, it's all within reach for us. And so what's distressing is not realizing that for yourself, you know. And that card is, you know, I guess that to me the most distressing is because I've come across many people on my path that I want so bad to be able to help, and you realize you get to a point in your life where you just can't. All you can do is try to be a model of what you're trying to preach. If you know what I mean. It's like, practice what you preach. It's the only way to. And then eventually maybe other people will see that, okay, it's not as bad as what I was making it out to be. But I mean, they have to come to that realization for themselves. But for a person who is very emphatic or empathic, they just want to help. And it's frustrating on the other end of that to watch somebody go through it. So that is the most distressing card, and that's why. Number 3 is, which card is the most enigmatic for you? Okay, so, all right. This is the card that I picked, but I'm also going to show, or like when I edit this, I'm going to show you some pictures of why I feel like this card is the most enigmatic. I had just, it's been a few weeks ago, I've been doing a series on my TikTok about, you know, learn tarot with me, which I'm only actually to the Chariot at this point. But it, you know, as I was doing the deep dive, and I don't know how many of you have actually watched the Round Table series, but you know, we've gone over all of this, and it's been a good year, a year-long journey of learning tarot. And I can honestly say it wasn't until I did the deep dive for myself, and am actually, as I'm teaching, I'm learning, and I retain it more. So, the High Priestess. I mean, when I look at this card, and I intentionally picked the High Priestess from the RWS. One, in the RWS, she is associated with the moon, and it's Cancer. Well, what I also like, Julie Kuchiwat's, the High Priestess from her Real Sky Tarot, because the High Priestess is Virgo, and in Real Sky, I'm a Virgo. So there's a little plug in there, my own ego. I gotta tell you that I'm a Virgo. And I love the High Priestess because she is so enigmatic. Because, for one, she's associated with the third eye. And the third eye is how we pick up all these messages from the universe. You know, it's where we get our downloads. And then she's also been associated with our throat chakra. You know, if we're not correctly, if we're misguiding ourselves, then we're not going to be able to speak our truth. So there could be, you know, a blockage there also. So, you know, and words are spells, you know. So I think it all goes kind of hand in hand. The High Priestess is very mystical to me. I have quite a few notes because I don't want to miss anything. When we look at these two, the two pillars here, these are also associated with the Temple of Solomon. And I wrote down a verse from the Bible that talks about this. And it is in 1 Kings chapter 7 of the Old Testament. And in verse 21, so the chapter is describing the Temple of Solomon. But in verse 21, it says, "Then he set up the pillars by the vestibule of the temple. He set up the pillar on the right, and he called it Jachin. And then he set up the pillar on the left, and he called it Boaz." So, you know, Solomon was all about wisdom and inner knowing. So when we, you know, that alone is talking, like, she's the medium for that. Okay. Then we have water, which, you know, water is like transcendent. There's water holds memory. There is the Torah in her lap. The, you know, that's like Holy Scripture. So there's revelations that are possibly coming to light, you know, like a hidden translation or a hidden message coming to light. The key words that are associated with this card are intuition and inner knowing, secrets, spiritual insight, emotional stability, divination, esoteric wisdom or knowledge, and revealing what is hidden. So it's revealing a big secret. That alone is enigmatic. And if this card comes up in reverse, then, you know, we're fooling ourselves sometimes. So this card is a very spiritual card. It's like we have to be in balance to get that correct knowledge, you know, for us, the truth for us that we need, or we deceive ourselves. So another thing that I find extremely interesting, and probably the most enigmatic thing about this card, this particular card right here, is the way that the High Priestess is depicted. So when you are watching this, there will be edited in a picture of a painting that I had found, and actually I'm adding a few clips of or screenshots of different pictures that I have found of Mother Mary. And in these pictures, she has this crescent moon at the bottom, and she's wearing this type of robe. And then pictures that are similar to the Mother Mary that are like depictions of Isis with Horus, or I believe I can't remember which one it is, that she's holding a baby. But they have, I mean, all these images are so similar. So another thing that is so enigmatic about this card is it's not just representative of, you know, that inner knowing. It's associating religion with all these other goddesses, you know. And then when you think about all these other goddesses, because there's also Persephone that has been associated with this card, Artemis, Mary Magdalene. So Hathor, we think about, I think about Mother Maiden Crone energy. You know, this is a timeless energy. It's the feminine divine, the divine feminine. And then, the triple goddess energy. So yes, I'm going to add all that on there. And then last but not least is the veil. Is the veil that she's wearing. Because the veil represents, to me, the veil that separates us from the other world, the hidden world, the unknown world. So the high priestess is the medium that brings those messages to us from the other side. And isn't that what most of us are doing when we play with tarot? When we use tarot, so the most enigmatic, the most beautiful card. I love the High Priestess. Okay, so number 4. Which card would you put into a 1,000-year time capsule for the future of mankind? Okay, let me look at my notes because I think oh yes, okay, I put the wheel and the star, and I will explain. Okay, so this is also from my light series. So the wheel, because when I think of in 1,000 years, or should I say what I'm hoping for in 1,000 years, is kind of like, like when we look at the civilizations for ourselves that have disappeared. I mean, we have all these questions, and we wonder what happened to them. They're not here to tell us their story. So what happened to them? And whether it be fantasy or a message from the universe, because there's no proof. We have scripture, that we have found and translated. We have many ancient texts that are being translated or have been translated, or we find mistranslations. So there's always that question, what happened to these ancient civilizations? And it's a question that I would love answered for myself. But I do speculate, and I have ideas. So I believe that, we are on a cycle. We are on a cycle, and we have to work out these lessons so that we can level up, and eventually, like if you watched my musing about the Celestine prophecy and like what that meant to me on a personal level, and revelations from the Bible, I feel like the leveling up is kind of like what happened to some of these civilizations that they're not here. I feel like they're here, but they're on a different plane. They're on a different plane of existence. And when we tap into the universe, we're tapping into those messages. And that's why I think a lot of people are getting these messages now. And I think as we move into the age of Aquarius, that more than not are receiving similar messages that, this is where we're headed. And I think that we've been there before. So these two cards, I think, kind of sum it up. This is how we get there. This is through our higher consciousness, and look at the star. It's the heavens. It's the constellations. We hear the stories all the time. So this is what, if I was to open it up 1,000 years later, I would want to see these cards and be like, yes, they did it. Okay, so number 5 is if you were elected president of a newly created country, which card would you use for the flag? That I would use the Ten of Pentacles. And I picked the Ten of Pentacles from my Chris-Anne's Light Seers because this is what I would want. You know, this is what I would want for my country. Is abundance. It's happiness. It's everything. You know, I think it's being able to get whatever you want. Look, the Tree of Life. I mean, it's spiritual happiness, and with spiritual happiness comes, you know, material happiness. It's everything. It's all of it. It all goes together, and I would want to lead my country in that way. So, number 6, if you were Earth's ambassador to an alien civilization, which card would you use to represent humankind? I picked Temperance, and I just picked a couple cards. This is, again, Light Seers, and this is The Haunted House by Sasha Graham. Because I think that this depicts humankind. I feel like, you know, well, in the Rider-Waite-Smith, we have the Winged Angel, and it's kind of like expressing balance. You know, that the ultimate goal is balance. But as humans, we constantly find ourselves not in balance. And it's when we're not in balance that other things happen, you know. And I think that's like a lesson that each one of us needs to learn. And yes, I do believe that we do need to learn it. But what that lesson is for each of us, and what the different things that we find ourselves out of balance in is different to each one of us. You know, here we see a cosmic, you know, he's tapped in and he's learning to balance the dark and the light. You know, he's and it looks kind of like the sun is a little bit more elevated than the moon. So I mean, he's, you know, the shadow is kind of where it needs to be, but it needs to be there in order to achieve the light. You know, and here it's just a couple of people talking, and maybe she's counseling. You know, what does a barmaid do? Bartender, they counsel, and somebody's she listens as somebody's, you know, I mean, that's, I don't, you know, to me that represents humankind, because I think that each one of us, you know, in our journey, these are the things that we are trying to accomplish, is balance. Okay, so number 7 is, which card represents somebody that you love? First, I picked the sun from my Light Seers, and then I picked light, also the sun from my Psychic Tarot, because it kind of depicts something that happened to me when my grandson was born, my very first grandchild. And his name is Liam. I love him so much. I have 3 grandchildren, and I love all 3 of them equally. But with Liam being the first, he changed my life. And so when I think about my grandbabies and what they've done for me, it's this. It showed my purpose. It showed my purpose in life. And, you know, as much as I think that when we actually find our purpose, the more we fight the purpose, is the more struggles we will have. And I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And I make jokes, but when he was born, it's like I was right there. I watched him come out of my daughter's birth channel. You know, I just watched him. He just, bloop, there he was. And, he had been in there a little bit long, so he was a little blue and his head was elongated, and anybody that knows me, it's like I seen that and I make jokes about it, but I'm not kidding. It just, it's funny. The heavens opened up and the light shone on my grandbaby, and I heard angels singing in my head. Oh, yes, yes. I knew in that moment that my life had changed, and it was such a beautiful thing. It was so beautiful. And of course, the tears were flowing, and, and he is a light. He is such a light in my life. They all are. And again, like I said, he showed me my life's purpose. And it doesn't just stop at my grandbabies. I am in servitude. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It fulfills me. And it brings me so much joy. The more I fight it, my friends, the more I fight knowing what my life purpose is the more struggles that I have. I'm in servitude to you. I am in servitude to myself. I'm taking care of the earth. I'm taking care of children. I'm taking care of my friends, my family. And I think it's beautiful. So anyway, that was a little bit of a rant there. Which card would you use for the cover of your autobiography book? This is going to be my ego talking. It's the High Priestess from my UFO tarot. Why for my autobiography? Because anybody that has been paying attention to my channel, I have talked about this. I have been abducted many times. And what for? I couldn't tell you because my memory is like shot. What I remember the most is like at 10 years old, the experience of being abducted. I actually remember being gently put on my couch in the living room and seeing a gray leave my house. And he communicated to me in my head. So, and I had went to sleep in my bedroom, which was upstairs. And yeah, I woke up while I was in midair and was like being eased onto the couch, like gently laid onto the couch. And then at 40 years old, something happened there too, where whatever they had put in my ankle at the age of 10 was taken out. I actually was bleeding from the area when I woke up from what I thought was a dream. I do not believe it was a dream. Anyway, I'm betraying myself to these. Some people might say that's crazy, but I'm telling you, it happened. Anyway, that's a story for another time. But so I know that I am clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. There are so many clairs that I have. I read palms. I read tarot. I like to bring things that are hidden to the light. I am a knowledge seeker. And so when I look at this card, it's like this has always been with me. And so, Julie has the High Priestess associated with Virgo, and that is who I am in real sky. I feel like she was right on the money. I can't speak for everyone, but I know for me, it definitely embodies exactly, what my life has been about, is this right here. It's the journey from, you know, the other side. And I do not believe that my first existence was on Earth. You know, I'm very drawn to, you know, like Arcturus, Venus, Orion. Very, very drawn to the stars, period. You know, I'm a dreamer. I have plenty of dreams, and I also write those down. Some of them are just outlandish, like, what the heck? That did not happen in this realm. But it's like, I know it happened, or it's happening. So yes, that would be the cover. So number 9 is, which card from the minor would you upgrade to major? Oh goodness, for me, it is the Two of Cups. And this is why. I believe the Psychic Tarot pretty much says it. It's that spiritual union. So it's like, you know, I think that we can, you know, we can be just in our consciousness. But when we are spiritually in alignment with another person, when we actually trust somebody, or we have unconditional love, and you know, the Lover's card, yes, I agree with that. It's like the beginning and the end. It's divine love, but it starts with the human love. It starts with that physical love. So maybe this is just the lower vibration of that card, but there's nothing lower vibrational about spiritual union. So this would definitely be the card that I think would be in the major as the beginning of the physical love, which I'm sure there's other cards, but this is a beautiful card. So which page would you mentor? And I couldn't really decide, and I used my the Muse Tarot by Chris Ann. I couldn't really decide because it's like, you know, like I said, I am in servitude. I would want to help someone who may struggle with their emotions. I would want to help them find peace. And then the same with a person that struggles with their mental thoughts. I would want to help them find peace. Why? Because I think that these are the entrepreneurs, you know, these are the ones that are going to be in control, or leaders eventually, you know, hopefully. And to get there, they would have to learn those things so that they don't end up mentally struggling or emotionally struggling, because those things can be crippling. And they lead to mental illness, you know, that keeps us from reaching our full potential. If we succumb to those things. So that's what I picked. So, yeah, I think, that's it. I think the video is long, but, yep. I love you guys. And, this was an awesome tag. Thank you, Ramone, for creating it. And, I hope you have a wonderful day.